Hello, and welcome to season two of the podcast Perspectives in Rural Schools. I'm your host, not Brianna. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to start off by saying, hey, and you guys know what's going on. I am not Brianna. Brianna was previously the graduate assistant here at EIU for the Rural School Initiative, the Grow Your Own program. But she has since left. She's gone on to bigger and greater things. But I'm the new GA here at EIU for the Rural School Initiative. I'm Ethan Holmeyer. I'm really excited to be here. I've been loving it so far. I'm going to go right into the first interview. My first interview is with actually a good friend of mine, Makenna Boyd. She is a super senior here at EIU, and she has started her student teaching at a Arcola High School for English. I really enjoyed this conversation. It was really fun. Very informative, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. So, without further ado, episode one, season two of Perspective in Rural Schools. Thank you. All right. Hi, McKenna. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hi.
This is McKenna Boyd. She is a current student at EIU, and she is starting her student teaching experience.
Yep, I am technically a super senior right now at Eastern because I will be graduating in December, and I'm student teaching at Arcola High School, so not too far, about 30-ish minutes away, so not bad. I am teaching English, high school English, so I've got mostly juniors and seniors right now, which is a lot of fun because they're getting ready to go
Yeah.
to college, so it's not too far off from where I'm at right now. And they're really nice so far. So that's a lot of fun. Let's see what else. Oh, my minor is women, gender, and sexuality studies, and I did a thesis over the summer, which was very fun. It was diversity in Marvel fan fiction, race, trauma, and disability through characters Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes, and it was a lot of fun to do. So stressful but fun. But yeah, that's me.
That's such a cool thesis idea. I love Marvel, but never would never have thought of that.
Yeah, it was. Oh, it was so fun. It was so fun. I'll send it to you.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Heard.
Um, so like you said, you're student teaching at Arcola High School, seniors English. What's it like teaching students that are relatively close to your age compared to like younger students?
Um, so it's kind of weird because you're like you have similar interests. So they'll be talking about like TikTok trends or things going on in the world, and you're like, I heard about that at this roughly the same time, and you want to like just talk to them like they're your friends almost. But obviously, don't do that. um, so it's a little weird, but at the same time, it's gonna sound weird. They all look like they should be freshmen to me, and I know everybody says that like, "Oh, as you get older, everybody younger than you is gonna look like babies." I thought that was a lie. It is so true. It is so unbelievably true. Like, when I was a senior in high school, I thought we all looked so adult. No, they look like children.
I think that's just gonna like keep happening from here on out.
Yeah, it's just
Everyone's gonna
it's just
see you
gonna get
looking younger.
worse. I'm gonna feel older and old. I'm 22. I should not feel this old, but, like, looking at their faces, I'm like, I'm like, "Am I in the right class? I'm supposed to be teaching seniors," and they look like freshmen, sophomores to me. Except you always get the one kid who's like 6'5" with like a full beard, and you're like, "Why are you here?" And then that's like the youngest kid in the class. Every once in like there's always one, and I definitely have one or two of those. So there's always one that looks way older than they are, but for the
Yeah.
most part, they all look like tiny children. So that's a little weird, but it's fun. They're great.
I will say in high school that was me. I had a full beard when I was
Yeah,
in high
you were
school.
you were one of the you were the ones that people thought were really old then. Sorry about you, bro.
Yeah, I was working with some younger elementary school students at the YMCA in Mattoon, and one of them thought that I was 55, so that was fun.
55? Oh my gosh. I promise you don't look 55.
They're like, "You're like 55, right?" I'm like, "No, I'm 22." And they're like,
Oh,
"No."
oh, oh. Little kids can be so cruel.
Yeah, but at least they're honest.
Fair enough, I guess.
Okay. So I wanted to ask, what were your thoughts going into student teaching, and has that changed? I know you just started, but has any of that changed since you started?
Um, well, my initial thoughts going in were, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so scary." Um, Now that this is my 2nd week and it's Wednesday, right? I'm forgetting days now because
Yeah, it's
it's going
Wednesday.
by fast now. Um, Now that I'm kind of settling into it, it's not as scary, and, I've already taught a couple times, which is great. I'm teaching tomorrow. Um, so going into it, very scared, very scary. Settling into it, not as bad. Um, it's still a little nerve-wracking, like, when you first get up there and you first start teaching, you're like, "Oh my gosh, are the kids gonna listen to me? Are they gonna see me as, like, an authority figure, or are they gonna see me as this random person that's standing in the front of the room?" You know? Like,
Mhm,
are they gonna actually, make that connection, like, "This is a person teaching you," or, "I'm their teacher," or, "This is just another kid in the room," you know?
mhm.
And for the most part, I think it's been pretty good. Like, they've actually come up and asked me questions, and they call very strange to be called Miss Boyd. Very weird. I haven't had that happen yet until, student teaching or whole practicum last semester, but it's very weird. It's kind of jarring still. I haven't quite got used to it yet. I'm so used to just McKenna, but now people are like, Miss Boyd, and I'm like, that's not me. Wait a minute, that is me. So I think it's just getting used to things. You just gotta get used to it. But it's a lot of fun. It's fun. Now I'm having fun. I'm stressed, but I'm having fun.
I can understand, like, those are both equal parts of the
Yeah,
experience,
yeah.
stress
It's
and
a big
fun.
workload for sure. There's so much to do, so many lesson plans, and, with mine, I have 7 preps. So, normally, with a typical English teacher, they'll teach English 4, 3 periods, and English 2, 2 periods, so
Mhm.
they'll have to, prepare lessons, prep for 3, 4 classes. I never teach the same class twice, so I have 7 preps.
My goodness.
It's insane. It is absolutely insane. Because my CT, which CT is cooperating teachers, the one I'm working with, she teaches all of the junior senior electives for English. So I have no just typical English 4, English 1, none of those. It's all the electives. So I have modern lit, world lit, film narratives, speech, and things like that. So I'm never teaching the same thing more than once, which is, I mean,
Wow.
it's exciting, and I'm getting a lot of knowledge. I'm getting a lot of worksheets and ideas that I can steal and I can use in the future now. So that's fun. That's great. But the workload is insane because I'm used to not that. But in the end, it's going to be great and it's going to look good on a resume, being like, oh, I dealt with 7 preps, but
Oh, yeah. It's gonna
um,
look really good.
it's going to look really good. But for right now, it's a lot of work.
So, how much prep time do you have to do, but, like, before a lesson?
So right now I'm just now starting to actually put together lessons and teach them in my 2nd week. And sitting at home doing them probably takes me a good well, I'm pulling from stuff I've already created. So probably only 30 to 40 minutes per class. And I'm only taking over 2 classes right now, so maybe 2 hours to do stuff right now. But if I wasn't pulling from stuff, it would probably take me a lot longer, but I would probably also have planned farther in advance than I am
Right.
now. Because we're kind of going week by week rather than month by month. But yeah, it's a significant amount of time. Last night I was working on a lesson which I taught today. It went well. It was great. Um, but we're getting ready to do a graphic novel called Displacement, which I'm very excited about, and I need to teach them how to read graphic novels. Well, I need to teach them how to read images. So I found a slideshow of 16 pictures of that were taken by Dorothea Lange during the time of the Japanese internment camps,
Mm,
because that's what displacement is about, is the Japanese internment camps during World War II in the U.S. And it was through the New York Times, and that's blocked by a paywall. So I have access to it, but all my students don't. So I had to take the time and download all 16 images, put them in a slideshow, and then copy and paste all of the like descriptions underneath each image, and then put that in the slideshow. When what should have just been, I give them a link and be done. So that adds, an extra 30 minutes of work that you
Oh
didn't
my
think you
goodness.
needed to do. So there's always little stuff that pops up like that. But now it's created, it's done, I'll save it, and I have it for the next 30 years. So once I'm past the creating all of this content, it'll be easier to just adapt it for new classes. But right now I'm in the I'm creating new stuff phase, and it's a lot of work.
You are in the thick of it.
I'm in the thick of it. Yes.
Oh, well, you know what? Really kudos to you and like every other education
Thanks.
major. I just think it's awesome.
It's fun. I mean, it is a lot of fun. I don't regret choosing it, but it is a lot of work, and I do have to go through a lot of ibuprofen.
I can imagine. I can
Yeah.
imagine. So, next, I wanted to ask you, uh, did anything like help inspire you to go into education? Like what turned you towards this path?
Probably my teachers that I had in the past, and just my love of sharing knowledge. I really like English. I love reading. I love everything about reading and writing, and I loved all of my English classes and all of my English teachers, and I just wanted to share that. And I also think it's just one of the most useful skills to have, and you need it for every facet of your life. And I had some amazing teachers that did more than just teach. They were like extra parents to me, and I want to be that to my students. I want to be a person that they can look up to. I want to be a safe space for them, because I know a lot of kids don't have that right now, especially with what's going on in the US recently. A lot of kids don't have that. And I want to be somebody that they can turn to in the public school systems.
My next question is, what are some of your goals and aspirations for the future? Like once you graduate?
So my goal right now is I'm at a crossroads, to be honest. I'm trying to decide if I want to go straight into teaching, or if I want to get my master's. I'm leaning towards master's, except I'm not getting my master's in English. I will be getting my master's in women's gender and sexuality studies, because I want to be able to teach that at the college level.
Oh,
But I also want to be able to potentially bring that in as an elective for high school kids. That would have to be for like a district that would be able to like afford it, like be able to like have that elective. And I know a lot of like rural areas probably wouldn't want to have that elective. They'd probably be a little just not accepting of that as an elective. So I'd have to definitely find a place that would allow me to do that. But I think that would be so much fun, and that would be the goal, would be able to teach that at both the college and the high school level.
I do think an elective like that would be very beneficial in a rural school.
But like even just in rural schools, like it's needed to have somebody that like recognizes those
Hmm.
signs and is somebody for those kids to talk to, a safe space for them to go to. Because I know there's a lot of teachers that won't even respect pronouns. I know in my old high school, there's a teacher that fully will not use a trans student's correct pronouns, blatantly refuses to. Um, and it's awful. It's so bad, that poor child. So I yeah. I don't know what more to say to that, but like it's just so needed to have something like that in
It really
schools.
is.
And even if I can't do it as an elective class, maybe a club, or I'll just go around starting up GSAs. I don't know.
Yeah, like a some sort of community organization even.
Something. Yeah, just something so they have somewhere to go, because it especially in those rural communities, it can be very unsafe for a lot of students.
It can be like I know I grew up in a rural school in a rural town, and I wish I had more like cultural development and education, and I had nothing, you know.
Yeah.
Just coming to Eastern my freshman year of undergrad was a culture shock. but I'm
Mhm.
so happy I came here and I got to learn so much. I'm
Yeah.
still learning. I'll be learning every day for the rest of my life, and I am so grateful for that.
Mhm. That's how you should be. I'm still learning. I don't know everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what you gotta do, and that's what education is. You just keep learning every single day, and I love it.
me too. It's education, I think, personally should be a lifelong endeavor.
It is, it should be, and it should be funded more.
Yes. Yes, it should be funded more. Agreed. Um, I also wanted to ask, since you're going in the education field, and you mentioned before you had some different experiences when you were younger. Did you have any
Mhm.
like specific experience or a favorite teacher that might have pushed you to this field?
Yeah, I had 2 or 3 teachers in my high school that I really loved that definitely inspired me to be a teacher. I'll name drop them. Mrs. Hole and, Miss Foyles at Tuscola High School. They were absolutely phenomenal, absolutely amazing. They were always so welcoming, so kind, and I learned so, so much from them. And Miss Foyles, specifically, there's a couple lessons that I remember doing, in her class that I actually used in some of my unit plans that I made. And I even emailed her. I was like, "Hey, I remember doing this lesson. Do you still have that worksheet?" And she's like, "Yeah, I got you." And she sent me that worksheet. So then now I can use it for my students. And it worked well. Like I did the tree octopus worksheet, which is a common one that's used, but I remember her doing it with us. So I modeled mine after hers and I did it with my practicum students last semester, and it was a lot of fun. Um, so yeah, I definitely Mrs. Hole and Miss Foyles were a big inspiration for me because I loved their classes and they were just genuinely good people and I learned a lot from them. And I'm still learning from them. I'm still getting information from Miss Foyles. So
I think that's amazing. I believe that any class can be a really great class if you have a really great teacher,
yes, yes.
which has always been. I remember in high school, I was in a government class. I don't like government. I'm not a politics person, but my teacher um, would get up like on his desk and be like, "Okay, King Kong kitty cats, let me get a meow." We all go meow, then we start the lesson. And I would look forward to that every day because it was so weird and wonderful.
Very weird, but I love it. I'm here for it.
And I remembered so much from that class, and it was I don't know. He was pretty awesome. Mr. Orman from Erie High School. If he ever sees this,
He sticks with you.
he does. I'm never gonna forget that. The King Kong kitty cats. That's
King Kong
that's
kitty cats.
that's what we were.
All right. Class name, huh?
Yes, yes, that was our collective noun.
I love that. That's perfect.
It was great. Like I said, teachers, they make all the difference.
They do. They really do.
Ah, all right. So you're super senior in EIU.
Mhm.
Um, how's your experience at EIU been as far as the department? Has it like how has it shaped you as a person and as a future educator?
The English department, amazing. Amazing. Could not speak higher of the English department, especially, like Dr. Worthington and Dr. Taki and Dr. Ames and, like, just amazing, and Dr. Ludlow. I'm, like, name dropping pretty much everybody, but, like, those 4 specifically, could not hype them up enough. They have been unbelievably helpful. Every time I've had a problem or not understood something or needed help, just shoot them an email. Bam. They're so helpful and so willing to help. They're not like, "Oh, you should get it. You should understand it," because we're at like a college level and I feel like a lot of professors at other places would be like, "Figure it out yourself." They actually want you to learn and they want to help you learn. And it's just amazing that they're so accommodating and helpful just as people. And I know I had a problem with another professor in a different department, and the first thing I did was email one of my professors at the English department. I was like, "Hey, I'm having a problem somewhere else. I need your help." And I got an email back like the next day and I went in and talked to her. Invaluable advice. Like I have made friends for life and mentors for life. I could not speak higher of the English department, especially like those four. Absolutely amazing. And if I ever need anything in the future, I know I can email them. So
I'm so happy that you've had such a positive
yeah,
experience that and again, that makes all the difference.
it really does. It like if I didn't have those four, I don't know what I would do because there was so many like so many times, so many all-nighters of like working on unit plans or working on stuff because like they still pushed you. Like there was times where I was like, oh, I hate this class, blah, blah, blah. I didn't actually hate the class. I just was stressed. But at the end of the class, I ended up with this big body of work that I am so proud of and that I'm pulling from right now for my student teaching experience. And I get to teach it to my students, and then I'm going to adapt it again for students in the future. Like, this is actual, like, the stuff that I did in college, I'm actually getting to use now in my career, which I feel like is not something that a lot of people can say. Like, yeah, they learn all this stuff and then they go do their job. But I am physically taking the documents that I created in my classes and using them with my students now, just tweaking them. And I think that's amazing.
Such a special experience, just like
It
it's
is.
continuing on where you've already started and
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool. And I don't have to reinvent the wheel, which is great. Like I
yeah.
don't have to create all new stuff, which is nice. So I have the templates there and I'm ready to go. And now I know what I'm doing. They've
I
set me
think
up for success.
that's awesome. Um, so next I wanted to ask you, what you're teaching at Arcola Rural
Mhm.
School. Um, we touched on this a little bit before, but I wanted to ask again, what kind of impact would you like to have on rural schools or just the education system in general?
Well, for rural schools specifically, just promoting acceptance for all students. I just feel like all these kids need someone in their corner, and I hope that I become a person that students can come to if they have a problem or if they don't feel safe or if they just need someone to talk to. Um, and in rural schools, so just like we talked about before, I feel like that's extremely important. It's still important in bigger schools as well. Like there's
Mhm.
still homophobia in Champaign, there's still racism in Champaign. There's still everything everywhere. But I feel like in rural schools, it's just more concentrated and it's harder to get out of that mindset in a rural school where everybody knows everybody and everybody's kind of forced to think the same and act the same. And if you don't fall into line, then you're going to be ostracized and all that. So having somebody in their corner is extremely important to me, and I hope I can be someone that they can look up to in that sense.
Well, I have a feeling you will, so I think that's awesome.
Thank you. I hope so.
I think you already are, in student teaching, I'm
Oh,
sure you're already making a difference.
that's really sweet. Thank you.
No problem. It's honest. We're all about honesty here, man. Is there
Okay.
anything else that you wanted to talk about, touch on? We can just have a conversation, whatever you want to do. Like this is your time.
Um, I mm, I don't know, some interesting things I've been hearing, just about the education system in general. I've been hearing some stuff about how, they're doing, like, a burnout and turnover right now with, new teachers. Instead of paying teachers more or better work conditions and stuff like that, they're making it easier to become a teacher, and then you burn out in a year or 2, and then you quit, and then there's a new teacher to fill your spot. So, it's bringing the whole education system down, which is very upsetting. I really hope I don't burn out in, like, 2, 3 years, but at the same time, it's not looking great for teachers out there. So, we'll see how that goes, but, yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with that. I'm also hearing in Florida, they're trying to pass something that says military personnel can be teachers. Just you automatically are like certified, you can be teachers. And they're also trying to make it so military spouses can be teachers as well. And I'm like, that they
Interesting.
have, yeah, no certification there whatsoever, which is kind of insane. Not kind of, it is. And
Yeah.
then in Arizona, they're trying to pass, or they have passed, you do not have to be, you do not have to have your like teaching license to teach. You just have to be actively enrolled in school to teach. Like you have to be actively enrolled, like to get your degree in education. So you don't
Hmm.
actually have to be certified yet. Um, so a lot of crazy stuff I've been hearing just because
It's a
of
lot of
like,
crazy stuff.
yeah, just because of how bad the teacher shortage is right now.
Teach shortage is really bad, and
Really bad.
that actually made me think. How how do you think community members, parents, how do you think like they view teachers in general? Like, do you think it's mainly positive or mainly negative, mixed?
Um, it's when it's positive, it's super positive. When it's negative, it is super negative. You are either an angel or you are the devil. There is no in between. Um, at least that's what I've seen, especially in rural communities. I've seen that it's like if you're not doing the right thing, they will parents can be so mean. I remember in my high school, I was the vice president of National Honor Society, and our two advisors had to step down, and they announced that they were stepping down while crying, because they were so upset they didn't want to step down. But
Oh
it
my
was
goodness.
because parents were upset that their children didn't get in, and they sent nasty emails. They yelled at them. They yelled at the school board. They just absolutely threw a fit. And they they didn't know what to do, and so eventually they just let anybody in, to NHS, and then they quit in tears. And one of them
My
even left the
God,
school, like, he moved, like, he left the school system.
that's so sad.
Yeah, and that's not an isolated incident, like, that happens other places, that's not just there. So, it's scary. It's very scary. It's either you're doing great or you're doing terrible, and there's no in between. Even though you're the one that put in the 4 5 plus years to get your degree, and you know what's best for the students, they don't trust you. I mean, and I get it. Like they're your kids. Like you want what's best for them, but these are also professionals that are. They also want what's best for your kids. But since they're kids, it's just such a touchy subject, and people get really angry. So it's it's not good, but doing the best we can.
How do you think like we could or like anyone could try to help and positively improve the people's views of teachers or just the educational system in general?
Just be more supportive of them as professionals, because I feel like we get pushed into like we're teachers. We're not this isn't like a job. It's not a profession. You're doing it for the kids. Yeah, we're doing it for the kids, but this is also our job. Like we went to school for this. We trained for this. Like we know what we're doing. So respect us as authority figures and not glorified babysitters, you know?
Mhm.
Um, yeah, like I don't really know a better way to put that, but I feel like people just think of us as glorified babysitters where we might be teaching them something.
Think it'd be
Um,
good. Think it'd be good to like educate the community like what the teachers' roles are and like how they get there. Kind of better
yeah,
explain.
maybe. Yeah, something about like actually how difficult it can be to become teacher. Well, maybe not in the future since teacher shortage and all that, but like how much work and effort and time is put into this because it's not just I'm going in and I'm going to babysit a whole bunch of 17-year-olds. 17-year-olds don't need babysat. I'm teaching them. They're
Mhm.
learning stuff in my class. They're learning about and they're learning valuable skills. Like right now, we're learning about how to read images. You see images every day. So I'm teaching them to make inferences based on the images that they see. So, like, if you look at a picture of this, okay, what can I infer from this image? Okay, this woman is sitting next to these two people. they're really close to her. I can assume that they're her children. I can assume like all of these different things are skills that you use every single day that I'm helping them build. They're skills that they're going to need and they're going to use in the future. We're not just sitting in a room doing nothing all day. They're learning.
Yeah,
So
which is the whole point of school, right? And the whole point of
it should
education
be.
system, right?
It should be. But some
Man.
people I guess don't think so. I don't know.
Well, McKenna, I really appreciate um, having this conversation with you. I really enjoyed it. I hope you did as well.
Me too. Yeah, it was great. And I loved talking to you and very interesting.
Yeah, I will. I will let you know when this podcast comes out.
Awesome. Thank you.